So you're wondering how to level up your motovlogging game? Well, I'm about to give a couple tips, tricks. Some of these are things that are my personal opinion. Some are actually helpful things coming from a video editor. This thing is it supposed to be that way? First of all, who am I? I don't know either. My name is David. People call me True. I'm a video editor. I have been making motovlogs for almost 5 years now. I'm also a mechanic and a motorcycle enthusiast. So before I start this adventure, I want to make a small disclaimer. If I were to list everything I can that I know about motovlogging or general video creation, this video would be like 8 hours long. So I'm not gonna do that. But before I start the video, I need to travel a couple kilometers down south to a mountain. Because I'm gonna travel fast, you're not gonna hear me. So I'll see you in a couple seconds. The green desert, and that's where we're going, the mountains, which is not exactly a mountain, it's more like a very big bump or a small hill. But for me it's a mountain, because look at this! So depressing. Okay, so I'll be splitting this video into 2 segments. The first segment will go over editing and technicalities and gear and stuff like that. And the second part of the video, we'll go over the 3 C's. And no, not 3 C's as like 3 bodies of water, but 3 C's as 3 letters C. This is fun to do on a naked. I don't think I've ridden naked more than like a few times. Excuse me. That was not me, that was the bike. I didn't even introduce you to my friend. This is Nemanja. He borrowed me this bike because I saw it online. I have not ridden in 2 years, and I don't have a bike right now. So he borrowed me this one. It's kind of crap, I'll admit, but it's decent. It's decent. All right, we're soon to enter Novi Sad, my city, which I just came from, by the way. I came from Novi Sad to Bateri via car to get back with a bike on a mountain that's on the Novi Sad, and then I'll get back to Bateri with the bike and then sit in a car and get back again. And look at those beautiful mountains. That's where we will be in a couple of seconds, well, maybe minutes. For us it's gonna be like 30 minutes, but for you it's gonna be a couple of seconds. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to go, I forgot about that. What's regular? Oh, there's 2 regulars? What the fuck? Let's get this one. 20 bucks. Hey, let's go pay. Oh, okay. So we're waiting here for about 10 minutes to meet up with a friend that actually came from the same place that we came from. Of course, that friend does not have a proper exhaust. All right. Well, they're on sport bikes, so they can go have sporty fun. Well, I'm gonna remember how not to crash. So as I was saying, I was actually already recording this video last week. A lot of things happened in that video. I came home, realized the audio was kind of corrupt, a little bit worked, a little bit didn't, but it was such a cool vlog. It was such a cool vlog. So many things happened. I almost hit a man. A man almost hit me. Can you stay in your lane? Not really. I almost fell. That new motor. Oh God! I almost died. Not really. I saw a snake. A snake! I saw the snake's killer. Loud bikes and stuff like that. Was that a hawk? Some random dogs came out of the forest for me to pet them. Alright, buddy. Oh, I have a... You don't see this, but I have a bee in my face. I'm gonna have to stop and remove it. Hey! Imam pčelu u nosu, mobi da izvadim. Čekaj. Nema veze, tamo je bolje, ajde. It dropped lower. It's in my mouth now. I have a mask, so it's fine. No, he's nervous while watching. He done some cool ones today, but now he's nervous. Let's go! Alright, I almost fell off the tractor, off the road. Okay, we're in the city now, so we're not gonna... we're entering the city now, so we're not gonna have too much fun, you know. Mountains, here we come. Let's start with the first part of the first segment. Editing, specifically audio. There's a big issue with motorcycles and, you know, audio. Can you guess what it is? Exactly. Can you guess what it is? Yes, they're very loud. Not just the exhaust, but the wind too. But, so... Oh, I think he went that way. So our friend went that way. Now he doesn't really know what that means, but he'll catch up. He's on 1,000. So audio is a big issue, but not just because the bikes are loud. Yes, first of all, I need to say this thing. You're not gonna like it, but I need to say it. You're not gonna like many things I say in this video, actually. But from a kind of video and audio freak here, no matter how much money you put into your microphone, it's not going to withstand wind. Not a chance. You can have as much bed cats and mesh filters, pop filters, whatever you can think of to put on the microphone. It's not going to block winds if you're riding fast, right? We get that. That's why I'm only talking when we're riding at slow speeds. Like after 5 years of trying to eliminate wind speed, I thought it was the bike, I thought it was the helmet, I thought it was the microphone. No, it's just a fact. That's what it is. You cannot avoid it. It's always going to be windy. But it's not just wind. It's not just wind that directly hits your bike. It's also the wind that hits your helmet, that hits, well, everything around you. Also your engine noise. Also your loud exhaust. If you have a loud exhaust, that brings you a lot of trouble when it comes to motovlogs. I'll explain later exactly why all this loud stuff is bad. But first, let's say with the obvious. When something is very loud, it gets very mushy. It's very, how do I say it? Disgusting to hear. What I'm gonna say is gonna be very controversial in the biking community, but I don't like loud exhausts, honestly. Like, they're cool, they're fun. I like them as a person, but as a motovlogger and a video editor, they suck. They suck. They suck so much that I don't have words to explain how much they suck. I'll explain later a bit more why exactly, apart from just it ruining your very high quality expensive microphone. One day my visor is going to shatter because of its latching system. It's kind of broken, so now I forcefully shut it, which I wouldn't usually ever do when I'm just riding, but because I'm recording, I shut it so you can actually hear me. I understand people that like loud exhausts. I don't understand YouTubers that like loud exhausts and are like, listen to this loud exhaust, and it's just peaking. It's just sounds of peaking, and like, wow. And then people in the comments are also like, wow, that bike sounds sick, but don't be pretending on me. You're not actually hearing how the bike sounds like. You're hearing a mic clipping and sounding like crap. That's what you are hearing. You can have a $10,000 microphone, put it against wind, against bike noise, pops and cracks and stuff like that, and a man screaming in his helmet. It's not gonna sound nice. It's not gonna sound well, and that's something you gotta deal with. That brings me to another thing. People try to fix that by applying a lot of filters. Fine, you're trying to fix it, though usually it just ends up sounding like a muffle and ugly and stuff like that. It's just, you know, noise reduction in this situation where everything is noise, it's just gonna sound awful. Also, this is Danube. I really like it. That's where we're going. Look at that. It's beautiful. That's the city behind us. That's beautiful. That's a new bridge is being built there. Whoop whoop. That's the sound of the police. Whoop whoop. That's the sound of the beast. This bike likes U-turns, though. This bike likes U-turns. I gotta admit, doing that in like 4th gear. Imaš svoju kacigu kao privezak? Alright, I'm trying to figure out where the friend left. Kaznu? A na motoru, a? Stavimo krug I to ćemo vidjeti šta ćemo. A šta je njemu? Se zaustavili ga? Na pandur na motoru. Akumulator. Dobro. Jesi radio ovo ranije? Da. Okej. Ma slab je akumulator. Slab sam I ja. Može? Speed! Da! Čekaj da ne gubimo momentum. Nek pušine tamo, nale. Blago tebi! Is too much exercise for me. Well, that was unnecessary. Okay, he's probably gonna want to do a wheelie here. Excuse me, that's from the running. Everything wants to come back up. I ate a lasagna for lunch. I can feel every bite, every swallow I made, every decision along the way. Kids, make sure you have a healthy battery, both in your bike and inside of you, or you're gonna have issues like this. Anyways, I was saying audios. Yes, so some people learn that they can put an effect over their microphone and boost the bass, boost the lower frequencies, which, you know, makes the bike sound even cooler and makes your voice sound even more manly. It is nicer, sounds nicer, but they overdo it. You don't really hear what they're doing, but they're just ruining it even more. Add music on top of that. People do the same thing with music. They put some trap bassy music in the background and then boost the bass even more because it's cool, that's the scene, you know, and completely messes up the lower frequencies. But I want to mention another reason why that's bad. It's not just because of what you can hear, it's also about what you cannot hear. There's this thing called loudness. It's a little bit different than, you know, volume. And basically what loudness is how something loud is to human. It's actually called perceived loudness. I definitely recommend you to look up what loudness is. This bike is swerving by itself. I definitely recommend to look up what loudness is. While you're at it, look up what true peak is, but I'm gonna explain it briefly. So loudness is how sorry, that was a key moment to be focused. Let's imagine a mountain. This mountain, its, I guess, silhouette represents your audio wave. The higher the, I guess, silhouette, the peak, the greater something in volume, you know, something is louder. So that is represented by decibels digitally. So what loudness normalization is on platforms like YouTube, Spotify, actually every single platform has a standard of how loud something should be. So YouTube, for example, recommends -14 LUFS integrated. That basically means that your mountain needs to be at a specific, I guess, height. So one video is not louder than the other. When you skip a video or something like that, all of a sudden it's loud and then it's quiet. Basically, so everything is normalized. You don't have to turn up your speakers and stuff like that. So everything is standardized. That's a pretty good thing. Many people don't know about it. So YouTube had to make a way to normalize it by themselves. That's what stable audio is. But stable audio ruins your audio even more. So honestly, if you have that option, turn it off. So basically, YouTube says your mountain needs to be this large. Integrated loudness just measures the average of that silhouette over time. So your average needs to be at that height, you know. But that's only an average. So that if your video is -14 LUFS, great. Your video is, you know, your audio is at a normal standard, you know, loudness level. That's good. But there's another issue that's as important, or maybe even more, than your loudness, because loudness is very easy to fix. It's just normalization, right? So you know how you have your mountains? These mountains, they all have, you know, peaks and dips and peaks and dips. And there's this thing called true peak, which is basically the highest point of your mountain, right? The highest peak of your mountain. If this highest peak goes over -1 decibel, which -1 is the standard for YouTube and many other platforms, if your true peak goes over that limit, YouTube will normalize your audio for you by shifting the whole wave, the whole mountain. So not just that peak, it will not cut the peak at the top. It will shift the whole mountain down until that peak is just under the allowed limit. You can have peaks under the limit, it doesn't matter. Your footage will just have less dynamic, I guess, range in audio. It's best practice to use the whole range as much as possible. So basically up to the top, but also while keeping the loudness at its recommended standard. I'm saying a lot, I apologize about that. Look at this, that's beautiful. Okay, everybody has to abide these rules, right? But most channels, most types of videos are not really influenced by this as much as motovlogging is, because motorcycles are very, very loud, and the wind is very loud, and when you boost even more the lower frequencies, the issue comes where you don't actually notice that true peak. It just happens without you noticing. You don't really hear it because, you know, human hearing is a little bit different than, you know, digital display. So a lot of times, especially when people boost their audio, which is fine, you should definitely filter your audio in some way. Hello. So most of the times your audio will peak over that true peak level that's allowed, and therefore your video gets quieter. So you upload your video to YouTube, you don't even know, and it sounds normal to you while, you know, listening to it while you're editing or afterwards when you render it. When you upload to YouTube, all of a sudden it's quiet, right? And it's turned all the way up. You can't even boost your headphones even more. And it's quieter than you remember it to be. That's why a lot of motovloggers don't really know that. That's why your videos can be quiet. Okay, let's not overtake here because that's a bit dangerous. All right, gonna catch up real quick. That's kind of the reason why I hate being on an 80 right now, because I know how much it's gonna bother me in post, and I know how much it will degrade the audio quality of this whole video. But hey, that's my problem now. Kind of yours too, because you're listening to this. But that's enough of audio, honestly. I blabbed too long about this. Let's go ahead with video. This quick part is going to be a little bit more about my personal opinion rather than, you know, a fact. But honestly, there's a plague in the whole motovlogging community right now, which is going on my nerves. Oh, look at him doing, I'm going to do the same thing. Watch this. There's a trick, a videography trick, which is supposed to give you much nicer motion blur. This trick is used to like mimic human vision, right, in terms of motion blur. It's achieved by halving, or rather double. Oh, look at this. In construction, of course. What was I saying? Look at that, that's beautiful. Oh, should look at the road. Look at that, that's beautiful. Oh, look at that, that's beautiful blur. My point is, this human motion blur trick is achieved by doubling your shutter speed by your frame rate, or halving your frame rate by your shutter speed. So if you're recording at 60 FPS, you use 1/25th of a second shutter speed, right? And the result is much nicer, much longer, and more natural motion blur. As you can see, I don't have any motion blur here, almost none on this hand when I move it quickly. Of course, if you lower your shutter speed that much, then the whole footage is overexposed, and that's not very nice. So this trick is achieved by actually using a filter called an ND filter, which is basically just sunglasses for your lens, for your camera, which naturally just darkens the whole image, doesn't allow that much light to enter. So when you lower your shutter speed, so if everything is more blurry, it's the normal brightness. The issue with this, one, it's not practical at all actually, because you have to, that's a big ass bug. It's not very practical because you have to constantly swap these lenses, constantly check settings. If you go into a tunnel, the tunnel stays dark. If all of a sudden it gets cloudy or the night falls, you have to change your settings, you know? Yeah, a camera in the middle of a forest, in the middle of a mountain, well, alright, I guess keeps people safe by observing them, but oh, the big ass trucks are a big ass truck. That's more big ass trucks. I let my friend go so I can take it slowly here, so I can actually talk, because again, if I go too fast, it's gonna be just blush. It's already blush because it's a naked, ow! Hit myself on the bike. So yes, it's all cool and dandy, you know, it makes for very cinematic views, you know, it's very cool and stuff like that. First of all, it makes your footage look a lot, it makes it look like you're going a lot faster, right? So that's the main reason why people actually use this trick, so they look like they're going faster. Honestly, I don't like that, because one, that's sad. Two, that's again trying to fake people out, you know, you're being fake. Third of all, is speed really the point? Again, I'll talk about that later, but I don't like that speed is a point, and that's why we're watching it. Some videos are cool, like track videos and stuff like that. Doing illegal maneuvers. This trick is cool for some cases, you know, it's not for everything. Fast-paced, you know, racing around the track, short videos, that's all cool, because one, motion blur is very nauseating for a lot of people. This is a fact. The longer you watch something that has that much motion blur, the more sick you will feel, the more nausea you will feel, really. The issue is that people overdo it, you know, people realize, oh, that's cool, let's make even more motion blur. They lower the FPS to 24, they record in 24 FPS, which is already like choppy and skips a lot, so it makes it look even faster. Like you go 70 kilometers an hour, that's like what, 45, 50 miles an hour, and it looks like you're going 200, you know, and then that's not cool from any perspective, honestly. Plus, it makes your viewers be literally sick. It literally makes them sick after more than 2 or 3 minutes. On top of that, they turn off stabilization, which makes every little movement even more motion sticky, you know? It's disgusting. It's so hard to watch videos like that, and most YouTubers do this. No, I hate that. Honestly, don't do that. You can have motion blur, that's cool, but don't do it. Stick to higher FPS. And then, if you're not feeling sick enough from all of this, you know, let me turn this whole video into a fucking Candy Crush rainbow oversaturated slop. I don't have a way to describe this, but I understand that bright colors attract people, mostly children. Okay, children are most of the motovlogging, like most of the demographic, but it's very hard to watch. It's a big strain on your eyes. Motion blur, no stabilization, low FPS, and then even color looking like a rainbow. It hurts your eyes. You know it does. And that's not fun. Okay, so we need to find my friend here. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. I thought he was like standing, like just watching, just looking for me. Hey, si smorio? Sigurno? Ajmo tamo pošto pada mrak. This thing has double exhaust. I don't even know what bike I'm riding, honestly. It's a phaser. I know that much. Phaser naked. I didn't know they make a naked phaser. I can hear him. I think he's coming back. Yeah, he's coming back. Okay, let's continue. It's cold here. Oh my god. I was here last week. It wasn't this much, you know, vegetation, because it's early spring and all of a sudden it's just blah, just green. I like that. I love it. I love green. If you're hoping that this video is one of those classics like do this, you will have the most cinematic camera setup ever. Nah, the camera setup is simple, man. You don't need an 8K cinema camera on your helmet. You just need a decent enough camera. By the way, in terms of shutter speed and stuff like that, most newer cameras, most modern cameras, action cameras, have the option to limit a range of your shutter speed or your ISO or both, which is great because then you don't get the ugly mushy footage that you would usually in like a stock setting, but also allows you to be more practical and you don't have to set up every time. You just set it up once and leave it and you're good. Sure, it doesn't look as pretty as it could be, but it's useful. Look at this, that's beautiful. Hello! That's the whole city of Novi Sad right there. Actually not the whole city, the mountain's blocking half of it, but that's gorgeous. Oh my god. What was I saying? The first main reason these action cameras are used on helmets is for safety, you know. In case something happens, you can have a camera like a dash cam, right? On your car. People forget that, you know, when your footage is low FPS, motion blurry, and very high FOV. I don't want to go too much over FOV because it's kind of tricky. When you have a bike like this one, I didn't have enough time to swap the FOV, the field of view. When you have a bike like this one, more narrow FOV is much better than a totally wide FOV. Wide FOV is kind of, they add to everything I said so far, and they'll come in play later. I'll talk about that briefly later. So if you can, like if you can see the whole dash and everything nicely in a little bit more narrow field of view, and I don't mean like a sniper field of view, right? I mean just a little bit more narrow, not this super wide, because even I don't see the amount this camera can sometimes see, you know? So that's quite unnatural. It doesn't really show much in front and stuff like that. Again, I'll talk about it later. Honestly, so your setup should be quite simple. Like, I don't care where you place your mic. Just a quick tip. If you have your helmet microphone plugged in separately, not into the camera, people really struggle to stay in their lanes. If you have a microphone that's plugged in separately, not into your camera, but into an audio, like external audio recorder, you'll have a lot more freedom in both quality, editing, and you'll have the ability to have two microphones, which I don't know about you. I have an old GoPro. This is a GoPro Hero 8, right? It's very old by now. It's much better options. It's actually one of the worst options for motovlogging, ironically. But the microphone is still, it's brilliant. It's a great microphone on a light, especially like when you're riding with a friend or with a group. This microphone inside your helmet doesn't really pick up too much. You have to turn up the volume to hear it, and then you turn up the noise floor and stuff like that. It sounds ugly. If you have two mics, it's a lot nicer. Mama. Look at this. It's a nice view there. Can't really see it too much, but it was nice. So I don't care what type of gear you got. You don't need to spend too much money in it. You just need to, like, I guess, pay attention to details. So I'm moving to the second segment of the video. It will be quite quick. We're nearing the end. While we're, I guess, riding through the spline of this mountain, this hill. I used to ride these roads every day, man, every day. So what are the 3 C's? Honestly, this is more an abstract part of the video. Like, I talked about the technicalities, I talked about editing. This is more an abstract, that's our word for a non-English speaker. These 3 C's are more abstract, I guess, concepts rather than do this, you know? And they're quite simple, actually. Character, content, and community. If your point is to get views, you gotta have a character, you know, you gotta have content, and I'll talk about the community last. All of these 3 are kind of connected with each other, especially character. So let's start with that. If you don't got character, if you're just riding and not doing anything, how many people want to sit home and be in traffic while they're watching YouTube, you know? So you gotta have character. You gotta add value in yourself. You gotta find a way, either through adventures or fun, or through content. Unfortunately, content kind of prevails, which is sad, because you can have good character, shitty content, and not get any views, but have a bad character and, you know, just content that people like to watch, like wheelies, you know, like expensive bikes, speed and stuff like that. You get views, you know, and that's kind of shitty. That's the shitty side of reality. But we're here to try to balance all the 3 C's, which obviously, if you don't have character, you know, there's not really much entertainment in watching you if you are kind of the subject of your motovlogs. Okay, let me just ask him if he wants to stop here or not. Si žedan? Si gladan? Znači kad siđemo jedemo nešto. Dobro.
Možemo nešto kod mene.
Dobro.
Ne voliš lazanje?
Let's go. It's getting dark here. Obviously, you gotta have character in order for people to watch you. You don't need to speak in order to show character. You don't need, you know, anything. You just need style, and you need, you know, value inside of yourself. You know, value that you can give to people. I'm not speaking like content-wise. Then there's content. You need to have content. You know, if you just dance in front of a bike or wait at stoplights and, you know, nothing's really happening, you're not really gonna progress too much. You know, if your game is to, like, grow, you need to have content. You gotta be creative, which is another C that I didn't want to include. I think creativity is part of everything. You know, it's you know, you're making videos. Everything needs to be creative, right? So I'm not gonna talk about style and creativity, but you do need to have it in order to have good content, right? You can copy content, sure, that works, but that's kind of obviously content. You gotta you know, mix it up. You gotta experiment what you like to make, what people like to watch, and what's, you know, useful. You gotta have value in that as well. And then there's my third and final. This is more of a wish than a requirement. It's a personal wish. You gotta have a sense of community. As a motovlogger, you're an ambassador. You're an ambassador. That's hard. You represent the community, the motorcycle community, not just the motovlogging community. You're not just in your own little community of your YouTube videos. No, you represent the whole biking community, which sucks because most of the motovlogging community is obsessed with speed, color, money, and, you know, bitches, hoes, drugs, stuff like that. I'm joking, but you know, I don't want to be a boomer, but it's true. You gotta have a sense of community. You gotta remember that most viewers are kids. You know, the people that watch motovlogs are kids. That's the demographic. You gotta remind yourself that kids, they are easily influenced. Hence why, you know, influencers really exist. Basically, influencers are just animators of kids. An average influencer would look at a person that's, you know, doing one of those jobs where, like, entertain kids as a clown or like stuff like that, you know, in costumes. That's what you're doing as an influencer, you know. Those people, they influence for fun. These people, they influence for life. What you say matters not in the amount of whether... Look at this, by the way. I was showing this in the last video. It's a tower that was bombed by the NATO. I went around there in the failed attempt of this video last week. Hi, doggy. Aw, you're quite clean for a dog that's in the middle of a forest in a mountain, right? How'd you end up here? People probably dropped you off here because they didn't want you anymore, right? Hi. Yeah, sorry about that. You don't really realize it, but you're teaching them lifestyles. You're teaching them philosophy, you know, your own philosophy. If your philosophy is, you know, act stupid, have fun, you know. Oh, this is a fun part, sorry. So if you're directly teaching kids, people as well, not just kids, about one, the community, how bikers are, two, how they should act, you know, they look up to you. You should at least, if you're doing stupid stuff, you know, I'm not against it, bikes are fun, speed is fun, cornering is fun, wheelies are fun, I get that, but if you're teaching someone to act stupid, teach them to act stupid smartly, to teach them to be smart about when to act stupid, when not, you know. Whoa, ow. For beginners, it's all adrenaline. Try to think back when you were a new rider. You just wanted to go out for a ride, you just wanted to have fun, do sick stuff, you know. You just wanted to do what people online did, right? If you were the type that watched videos. I was. Wow. Honestly, scared the crap out of me, didn't even see him, I pooped my pants a little. So I'm gonna speed up a little bit, have some fun with him now, but I'm still gonna keep it safe. I have not ridden motorcycles in 2 years, and this is like my 5th time on a naked, and my 1st time on this particular bike, right? Which is kinda, it's a little bit of an older bike, it's kinda jittery, it's kinda weak brakes, you know, kind of weird shifting. You know, a lot of things are different with this bike that I'm not really used to. I've used to sport bikes and I have not ridden mine in 2 years. So I'm not gonna be, you know, too stupid. I'm gonna have fun, but in a responsible way. And if you're a motovlogger, that's your job, man. I'm sorry, but it's your job. And if you don't do that, you're doing your job poorly. I don't care about the views, I don't care about the money, I don't care how much you earn. So yeah, some of these things were my opinion, some of these things were genuine tips and genuine facts even. Ooh, the sun, I haven't seen it in a while. He wants to stop for a picture. Look at this, look at this, beautiful. Oh my goodness, I said beautiful too many times in this video, I'm aware of that. But sometimes when I'm awestruck like that, you know, I don't have other words to say. Knowing him, he's gonna block the road to get a picture. He's that type. Oh, he's not gonna block the road. Whoa. Oh no, he is gonna block the road. See, this is a good chance to say, like, we're in a turn. Sure, these are slow turns, not very blind turns, but they are turns after all. So I wouldn't condone this, I wouldn't take a picture like this, but I know that bickering with him would take up a lot of our time and would get us nowhere. Trust me, I'm just gonna skip that part, get a picture fast and then leave. I'm recording him. No, wait, I'm recording him. No, I'm recording me, recording him, recording the bikes. I can do this quickly. Alright, I don't know if they're blurry, I don't care. Do you remember Photogrammer? He was a legend. I don't know if he still records. Gotta look that up. He's having fun. Back to the topic. So if you combine everything I talked about today, you will get to an interesting conclusion. I guess to an interesting result. Why is that light... Okay, that's broken a little bit. The light is glowing. I think that this thing is a little bit broken. Camera. Hello, cameras. I can't turn off. Alright, turn it off, I think. Look at this, I missed the view because of that. Wow, look at that. It's beautiful. This is the reason why this is one of my favorite roads. It's just... Oh, it's just... Oh, I can't explain. I don't know why. When I see stuff like this, my words disappear. As we end this beautiful chicken! No, it's not chicken, it's a fucking fazan. I don't know how that's called in a... It's a weird chicken. It's a long, fancy chicken. If you combine everything I talked about in this video, you'll come to a conclusion. I guess the result would be that your videos would look a lot more natural. You would be a lot more natural. They would look a lot more natural. They would sound a lot more natural. They would feel a lot more natural. And that is the key. That is the key to immersion. If you want people to actually go on adventures with you through a digital platform like YouTube, through video, then holy shit, make sure that they feel like they're there with you. By keeping the field of view a little bit more narrow, you allow for more things to see, because they're not in the distance, because it's a little bit more zoomed in, so you can see a lot more in front of you, right? which allows kids especially to learn, allows them to look with you. As you look into the corner, they look into the corner. As you see a car pull up, or a person run into the road, or a cat, a dog, a cow, an airplane fall down from the sky, they get to see it as well. They get to see this beautiful scene right here. Look at this. Make sure that your viewers are there with you, that they feel, that they see as much as they can. I'm seeing everything like it's paradise right now, it's I feel it, I see it, I hear it. You don't. You see it, kind of a representation, my best shot at showing you how that looks, sounds and feels to me. I encourage everyone to find their own style, find their own stories, their own adventures. Go out there. You don't need to travel, I'm not saying that you need to travel. Nah, man, you just have to have fun, show that through you, have an honest, sincere and natural feeling, and you will bring natural curiosity to people. And that's what makes a good motovlog. Why do I know this? You don't need to trust me. It's all coming from a random person on the internet, but at least I'm not promising you millions of views, millions of dollars in revenue, and cinematic setup, whatever the fuck people make videos about. Really, again, this comes from a video editor, motovlogger, and I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'm also a mechanic. I work on bikes too, so I guess I know enough about topics of motorcycles to talk about this. If you don't think so, you don't have to agree. I'm gonna go on and enjoy the rest of this day. If you're a motovlogger or any really video content creator, if you need any advice, have any questions or opinions or anything like that, feel free to hit me up, man. I'd be glad to help, either with your channel or your bike. It doesn't matter. That's the moon. When I was young, I always thought the moon and the sun were like always across from each other, like exactly like 180 degrees, whatever, if Earth was round perfectly, like in Minecraft. I always thought it was like, if you see the moon, that means the sun is like directly across it, and if you see the sun, that means the moon is. And then one day, I don't know, just one day, I looked up at the sky and I saw the moon and I saw the sun, and I was like, what? No, that's not how it works. But no, it turns out that that is kind of how it works. The moon is there, the sun is there. Not always. Sometimes they're closer, sometimes they're behind each other. It's so fucking weird. Why does it do that? Why does the sky do that? I'm joking, I know why it does that. But go have fun, man. This is your place, this is your racetrack. Go have fun. I know you want it, I know. Oh yeah, that's nice.